Hi, love. I'm so excited today to bring to you Erica Diamond. Erica Diamond is such a powerful woman, and I'm so lucky to have her on the pod today. She is a powerful woman, just like you, our listener, who teaches busy women to prioritize self care so you can experience less stress, more calm, and greater joy every day. Erica is an accomplished coach, speaker, author, and has her own Barbie by Mattel called the Chief Inspiration Officer. So inspiring. But Erica wasn't always so aligned with her life's calling and purpose. 20 years ago, she found herself on the verge of burnout, which I know you can relate to, and in her therapist's office looking for solutions. Her initial thought was to cut back at work, but on her therapist's advice, she instead learned how to balance it all by creating a calming lifestyle that allowed her to thrive personally and professionally. What she's most proud of as of late is a new wellness brand, Bliss Essential, which is the ultimate collection of the highest quality and purest essential oil blends to enhance our everyday wellness and self-care. Erica, welcome.
I'm so happy to be here, Dawn, and thank you for creating this space for other people to learn, to empower themselves. So congrats to you as well. This is important and needed.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit more about your journey, right? You're sitting there in the therapist's office and you're burnt out and, all of a sudden something clicks for you.
Yeah, so that was kind of the epiphany of where I unlocked this self-care lifestyle that I've been teaching for over 20 years. So
Mm,
we'll rewind. I'm 48 now, so I'm about 27 or 28 at the time. I started my first company at 24. On
mm.
paper, it was incredible, right? We were by now 3 years into my company. I was a Profit Hot 50 company, one of Canada's 50 emerging growth companies. I was the only female CEO on the list.
Wow.
We were growing. I was winning top 30 under 30, and the business was thriving. But
Mm,
I was quietly burning out and I was just not feeling in my body. And my mom, who's my best friend and who happens to be a therapist, she looked at me and she's like, Erica, something's up. I think you need to.
mm,
So as part of my non-negotiables as an entrepreneur, I had a trainer twice a week and I worked out with this girl, Sandra, who was also a therapist.
mm,
And I liked her vibe and I knew she was a therapist. She was Dr. Sandra. And I said, Sandra, I'm feeling funky.
mm.
Talk to someone. Would you see me? So she said yes. So in our work together on her couch, what we uncovered was she's like, Erica, you're this thriving entrepreneur and no one is telling you, and you love your business. No
Mm,
one is telling you you should
mm,
have to throw water on your flame and dull your shine. Instead,
mm,
let's complement it with a more calming, um, mindfulness,
mm,
practice way of life. And so that became my new non-negotiable. She said, I think you should try yoga and meditation. So as an entrepreneur, again, yoga, Steve became my non-negotiable to myself. So Steve came
mm,
twice a week and he taught me what happened when I stepped on my yoga mat and how I
mm,
completely transformed not only on the yoga mat, but also off the yoga mat. I started to
mm.
sleep better, come back to myself. I was practicing breathing and mindfulness and, mega stress management. I had like this big toolbox of stress management tactics now. And so I came back to myself. I wasn't sleeping at the time. I was agitated.
Yes.
So I started to kind of find myself. And when I sold that company to Canada's, when it was acquired by Canada's largest retail chain of bags 7 years later, I was so tired by then. I just wanted to stay home for a few years,
Mm,
have my babies. And
mm-hmm.
then as I went back to work and I started my entrepreneurial journey again, that's when I started this big lifestyle blog for women, womenonthefence.com.
Oh,
I
and I just love that. Women on the fence.
Yeah. And so I had always mentored women in business, even when I had my company. And so it just became sort of this evolution of helping women get unstuck, then mentoring
Yes.
women in business. Then, I was asked to audition as the weekly lifestyle and parenting correspondent on TV. So going on and saying, listen, I'm giving this advice now. And I've always for years coached women, but I want to get certified so that I feel that I have the know-how. And then
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
went into certification for yoga to be able to marry working with people's minds and their bodies. And then had always been an essential oils junkie. Then in COVID gave birth to a self-care product. So really to give this kind of 360-degree offering to women to really take them from feeling stressed, overwhelmed, burnt out, uncreative, on the hamster wheel, to sort of feeling alive, vibrant, in flow, in purpose and passion and power, and kind of and that's what my obsession is in this world, is to help women feel like that every day.
Yes, and it's amazing, and you just seem to do it so effortlessly. I know it's not effortless, but it seems like that. It's so there's a phrase you used a couple of times, and I want to zero in on it for a moment. You said, as part of your entrepreneurship, I think Steve, the workout coach, was non-negotiable, and then yoga became part of a non-negotiable. Let's talk about for a moment the role of having non-negotiables as part of alignment, right? Because I think that's often the piece that's missing for many people, women, especially, that the non-negotiables tend to be more about other people than myself, right? And that non-negotiable belief that I must have this in order to be well. Tell me about that.
Yeah, great question. So non-negotiables are just that. They are things that we will not negotiate on. Mm-hmm. So for me, non-negotiables are like as simple and silly as I need to walk outside for 20 minutes in full spectrum light in Quebec. Our winters are brutal. So I don't care if it's like snowing and freezing. That's my non-negotiable. My non-negotiables, I will not miss, the French play or certain things or hockey games or whatever. So there, what are the things you will not negotiate on? And so at first look, we think it's about saying no, right? Because we all have stuff on our plate, and we all, and often I think even it's a woman thing, right? We're so raised to be, the people pleaser and the yes girl. And so what we do is we slowly weave our way into this kind of human pretzel. And I say, like, what's your human pretzel threshold? Are you there yet? Right. So I think it's about getting very intentional about how you want to live and being able to trim the fat to whatever is not in alignment. So I always say I practice the 80 to 20 rule. I make sure that 80% of my commitments are necessary commitments, and things that like I have to do, want to do, and 20% is fluff or whatever. Are things like it would be a great to do, great to have. So like I may want to be president of the PTA association at school, but it may be the season of a lot of work. And so I would like to remind people, as they define what are their non-negotiables, no doesn't mean no forever. It just means no for now, right? Yeah. So I may have that desire. Maybe I was like, I don't know, I want to learn Italian. I've always wanted to, maybe I want to travel to Italy, learn Italian. Maybe I want to take a cooking class because I want to be a better cook at home. But now at night is not the time for me. I'm too tired. So what do I have going on? So it's about getting really intentional. No doesn't mean no forever. So I won't negotiate on, I love my business. I won't negotiate on not working on my business during the day. I will not negotiate on closing down work. So like my non-negotiables are, I don't teach yoga at night. And I disappoint a lot of people in doing so. And I keep doing that because I understand people work during the day. They want to, if they want to do yoga, they want to practice at night. I work on TV. I'm a life coach. I'm a speaker. I mean, I do a lot of things. So I work enough during the day. And so I don't want to work at night. And so it took me a long time to be able to say no, like I just, in a nice way, saying, and they understand, people know that I'm busy. And I said, you know what, I'm happy. I'm a morning person. I am no good to you at night. I am not an evening person. Right. Yeah. So it's about what are your non-negotiables and how can say no in a very mindful way. I always say, instead of just saying, no, I can't, I always say a trick that I use for my clients is, can I think about it and get back to you? This way, after you've thought about it and it is a no, it sounds like a nice, more well thought out no.
Like artful, like.
Yes. And like, I love it. And I really appreciate it. Thank you for thinking of me, but my plate is so full right now. And maybe come back to me in 6 months. Because it leaves the door open. And this way, I love leaving the door open.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it's like this whole serious life or death sort of like, oh my God, this opportunity is coming out now. It'll never happen again. And I should do it. Right.
What's meant for us will stick, right? What's meant for us will stick. And so as you're talking about non-negotiables, I love that you gave us some examples, like walking in the sun, right? And in that example that you gave, even though it's freezing outside. So what that clues us into is we think of a non-negotiable often as not negotiating it with other people, right? Like, but it's really about with ourselves. Like,
it's always about ourselves. If you're not taking, non-negotiable is I will not answer my boss's call after 6 p.m. Yes. It's a line, it's a boundary to your boss. but it's all
Yes.
for you, baby.
Yes. Yes. So really, it's so wonderful how you help women cultivate those non-negotiables and then hold that line for themselves, right? And so that narrative out there about self-care being selfish, what do you say to folks who struggle with that?
Yeah. You know what I say?
Tell me.
Keep, thinking that's selfish. So keep being the yes girl and tell me how that's working for you. Right.
Yeah.
The self-care that I teach, I like to say is smart self-care. And although I love massages and manicures and all that stuff, that's not the self-care that
It's
I teach.
not.
I teach very deep healing work, which sometimes, to be honest, does not very much feel like self-care in the moment.
No,
It
it's
is
very uncomfortable.
it's sometimes, diving deep into your finances and finally making a plan to pay off your debt and having to
Yes.
not buy that purse or those shoes or that vacation because
Mhm.
that's for your long-term wellness and being able to breathe.
Prioritization. Yes.
It is sometimes getting out of a toxic friendship or job
Mhm.
because it's not serving you. Self-care doesn't always feel so pleasurable in the moment, but it is for
Mm.
your long-term well-being. That is the kind of self-care that I teach. And I take women down this kind of 4-step process of self-care, which is first
Mhm.
we start with mindset, because I don't think we can begin to change our lives until we change our minds. And so a lot of
Mhm.
us are living in this very, scarcity mindset, right? I'm less
Yes.
than, I'll never be
Yes.
able to do this. She's so much better than me. I'll never have my dream job. I'll never find that amazing relationship. I can't be a good mom. I'm scattered, all that stuff. So from the scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, right?
I can, I will, I do, I am.
Yeah, and looking at literally how our brain works. So first step is mindset. Second step is energy and well-being. So we can't change our lives without, I say, looking at the 5 pillars of self-care and well-being, which is what you eat, how you sleep,
Mhm.
how you move, how you manage stress, how you connect socially. So looking at our kind of daily sleep, nutrition, movement, having a stress management toolbox. So first we change our mind, then we change our body. That's step
Mhm.
2.
Mhm.
3 is time. So once we can reclaim our mind and our body, then we can start to, manage our days and time manage like a boss. So the third
Mhm.
step that I teach is all about time management strategies and how to own our days and trim the fat and be very cautious with our time. And then the fourth step is transformation. Once we
Mm.
steps, how does it last? How do we make these good vibes last? How do we make this feeling? How do we, 21 days to form a new habit, 60,
But
60
sustain it.
months for it to become more automatic. How can we sustain it? And so that's the self-care that I teach, was just not like go get drunk or go get a manicure or massage, go do a
No, because
face.
those are band-aids on gunshot wounds. Like,
Well
yeah,
said,
yeah,
especially like alcohol and drugs and that stuff
yeah,
is for
yeah,
sure, Ben.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I talk a lot about making decisions in alignment with my future self, right? Like
Nice.
my today self may love that solution of going to get a massage and Manny's, right? But like my future self who feels broke and broke down, it's not in alignment. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. So tell us about your passion for essential oils and how that became part of your narrative.
So I have been an essential oils junkie forever since I can remember. And as I told you, I was like, studying and training to work with women's minds and bodies.
Mm.
COVID, I was like, I had this yearning to bring like a self-care product. So I teach self-care,
Mhm.
to bring my favorite self-care product to the market. I wanted something really high
Mm.
quality, and I had seen some oils that I like, but I was like, there's no company that's a blends company. Like, yes, you can buy peppermint or lavender. I was like, I saw in COVID that my clients, and in fact, people in the world, were struggling with the same 4 pain points:
Mm.
not enough sleep,
Mhm.
too much stress,
Mhm.
low energy and focus in their day,
Mm. Mhm.
low immunity, of course,
Mhm.
COVID.
Mhm.
So that was the birth of Bliss Essential, which is my partnership and collaboration with the pioneer, the leading lab and chemist of essential oils for the past 40 years.
Wow.
Bliss Essential has 4 blends, and this is the highest quality, purest therapeutic grade premium essential oils on the market, 0 chemicals, 0 fillers, all
Mm.
therapeutic for 4 pain points. So for sleep, we have Sleep Easy.
Mhm.
For stress, we have Stress Free.
Mhm.
For low energy and focus, like if you're looking for that afternoon cup of coffee, I say diffuse good vibes. So that's your energy and
Mm.
focus blend.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
Immune Army, which is, is like, imagine this army killing all the bad,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and that is like a natural surface cleaner. It's for when you're getting sick, you can dilute it with some oil and coconut oil, and rub it on your chest or on your feet.
Yes.
That is Bliss Essential. We have 4 beautiful, rich blends for those 4 pain points, for where most people struggle in their
Where
days.
most people struggle. But that's amazing, because don't you find that while women are going from this busy to bliss process, right?
Yeah.
That so much of what slows them down is decision fatigue along the way.
Yeah.
Too many choices, getting bogged down in this one or that one, right? And so you've just kind of simplified. Here's your essential oil strategy. Love that. So, and you teach a combination of, right, like whether you're diffusing or you're applying or how or when you're using it.
Totally. So everyone who buys a bottle gets a card with all the different ways of how to use, like with actual measurements, how many drops in your diffuser of water, how many drops like in your bath as a pillow spray, on your feet, behind your temples, a couple of drops in your palm, rub your palms together, inhale the aromatherapy. So oils, if people want to know, like some people think it's hokey pokey, but we know the studies on aromatherapy, especially these oils, for therapeutic benefits. So in 22 seconds, the molecules of essential oils will reach your brain. In 2 minutes, they're going to be found in your bloodstream. And in 20 minutes, these oils are going to affect cells in your body. Wow. So when inhaled, which is called aromatherapy, in a diffuser, for example, the scent of the molecules travel from your olfactory nerve in your nose directly to your brain, and they actually impact your amygdala, which is the emotional center of your brain.
Yes, fight, flight, freeze, right? That trauma brain. Yes. Wow.
So you're actually changing, brain chemistry to respond to how you're feeling. They can also be absorbed by the skin. They can help you relax. You can put it in a carrier oil, in a soothing bath on your skin. But the quality of essential oils are the most important. There's really a lot of crap on the market. So when you're using Bliss Essential, like at blissessential.co, you know that you are using and inhaling on your skin and your nose the highest quality, best essential oils you can find.
Which is amazing. I think it is confusing for the consumer for so many things, right? But like, here's this brand over here, and maybe we know it's high quality, but it's very, very expensive. And then here's this less expensive brand over here, but do I know if it's high quality? And that's
right. No, we are definitely not the cheapest essential oil bottle, but it does last a long time because you do not need a lot.
Awesome.
It's very potent. They're totally pure. There's no fillers or crap or anything in there. Just a few drops will do the job.
And so then, like anything, right, the consistency of use is going to make an impact about how much you see a transformation from a product.
Of course, you're not going to use it. I mean, yes, you of course may experience, if you're using our calming blends, you will calm, it'll have this calming effect. But the best way to use them, like for example, I have my diffuser on my nightstand. Every night before bed, I got 20 to 25 minutes in my diffuser as I'm reading, as I'm watching a show. I've got my sleep blend going. In my office, I'm in my office, I have my diffuser there. So generally the blend, so on my nightstand is pretty much 99% sleep easy. On my office stand, I keep good vibes because this is where like maybe I'm tired in the afternoon.
Yeah, and you want some focus.
So I need an energizing blend. In my kitchen, I switch it up because sometimes I need like good vibes in the kitchen. Sometimes I want Immunity Army because it smells like fall and it just smells so good. And if I've been in a crowd and I want to, boost my immune system, I will use Immunity Army. And sometimes I just want a calming blend, so I'll use stress-free. So like my kitchen, I say, is like, I don't want to use a bad word, but it's like the girl or like the guy who sleeps around in the kitchen. Like the kitchen diffuser sees everyone. My office pretty much sees my energizing blend, and my night table sees my sleepy blend.
I love that. So it's such a beautiful wraparound tool, right? Because what you said about the amygdala is this immediate hit, this immediate benefit, but then long-term, knowing that it's in the bloodstream and the overall long-term impact of reducing amygdalic stress and increasing your immunity. It's just, and then when you pair that with some of the other things you teach, like yoga and meditation, like that is transformation.
You do, like you are really, you get this stuff.
Yes.
You're awesome. I usually, when I go on podcasts or whatever, like not everyone actually understands the intricacies of, yes, pair that with, meditation, yoga, well said. Bravo.
Yoga is also where I had my kind of breakthrough moment in life when I was 30, right? I was getting divorced and I was, all the things. I was unraveled and a therapist. So like very ashamed also of that, right? And found myself really in yoga and pairing a lot of these tools and then really just kind of expanding on it from there. So when I found you on Instagram, or maybe you found me on Instagram, I don't know, it was very exciting because yeah, I could hear immediately that you get it. And that was so exciting for me also.
One big love fest.
I think sometimes we're looking for such a quick fix or a one thing, but consistency is always the answer to transformation and getting grounded and really handling that lizard brain piece, right? So that as we think about when you talk about what's on your plate and what you're passionate about, when we're doing all of that from a grounded place, right? When we're doing our yoga, meditation, essential oils, we're truly grounded and in flow and can hear our intuition. Then all of a sudden decision making gets easy and we're so clear. And then we can move through life and say yes to the things that light us up and no to the things that don't. I know I'm preaching to the choir right now, but it's like, let's focus on getting grounded first and then can welcome in all these beautiful things that have probably been blocking.
Yeah, but I think also what's important to say is we need, as we go along this journey of maybe going from, that cheesy saying of stress to blessed, or how I speak from, busy to bliss, or whatever the word is, and whatever this transformation is, we must practice grace and compassion for ourselves. Because the road to transformation is sticky, it's long.
Rot.
It's about, Paula Abdul said, and I'm showing my age, what is it? 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's about realizing that it's like a cha-cha when we move forward and back. So we're not always going to wake up and be motivated to move our body, even though we know that moving our bodies is so important and we feel better and it takes the stress out of our body. So we're not always going to feel inclined. Sometimes we're going to fall back into old habits. And I think it's important to say to ourselves, a bad day is not a bad week, is not a bad month, is not a bad year, is not a bad life. Right? Sometimes we just get off the horse today, and we need to remind ourselves today is over. And that's why I love the possibility of a new day. I know that may sound tacky, but I look at every single day of my life. I really don't look back. I really look at today and the possibility and the opportunity to make today incredible. And I actually just shared that on Instagram today, which is like, there are 2 things that we can change, the future and the past. So, we can't do anything about tomorrow. We can't do anything about yesterday, but today we have the ability to hear. And so I think that's really important, is to practice that grace and compassion if we fall off our wellness wagon, or if we we did not do what we say we wanted to do. And so I think it's important not to punish ourselves and all those things. And if we've been raised by overly critical parents who kind of clipped our wings, who were the parents who, I like to say, don't be the parent when your kid brings home a 92 to be like, where's the other, right? Then most likely we have either some imposter syndrome or self-esteem stuff. And so maybe we don't know how to practice that grace and compassion when we err. So that's really important.
So beautifully said, because, we start a journey like this, and then it's kind of human nature to compare to other people, right? And then to maybe assume if I had a bad day or a bad week that I'm doing it wrong, or I'm not doing it well enough. And all that's garbage, right? It's just literally part of the process. And the point is, keep going and make today the best day you can, right? And today's the best, some days might be I'm in bed, but to keep that mindset that you said, right, is step 1 for women, to keep that mindset like, no, this is going to work and I'm going to do it long term. And I'm going to stay committed to myself and stay committed to this process, and it's going to work.
Yeah. And it may not work in the exact way that we planned.
Never.
It's not, and that doesn't mean that it's not going to work. Sometimes there's just like a greater plan in store for us, and having that trust that whatever needs to find us will find us. And that lets us go about life with less anxiety.
Yes.
When we trust, right, that things that we're going to work hard and the right things are going to show up and we're going to manifest what we need to, that lets us really come from a place of empowerment and power instead of a place of scarcity.
So beautifully said. So tell me, this is going back a little ways to pairing things with essential oils. Tell me what you say to women when you recommend yoga, meditation, and they say, I really struggle with both, but speak to the yoga piece first. Yeah, I'm not a yoga person, right?
So I have this beautiful program, and this is how I work with women, called Busy to Bliss. And one of those chapters, one of those modules, is about yoga. And so I give them this 5 or 10 minute thing, this flow that I've paired together in a way that builds and builds and builds and makes any woman realize that she can do it. I'm also
She's a yoga
very
woman.
yeah, that every woman is, and every human being is, not just women.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm very much that's like my real thing that I should have been, as like a DJ. So I love music, and I think that I have the ability to get women in the zone, the pairing of how I
Mm.
teach a class and how we work with music, like really
Mm.
empowering, sometimes sexy music, like just it's kind of like this experience that I take them on. So
I love
I
that.
have I have a lot of women, when I have the gift of being able to teach them in person, they're like, oh, I hated yoga. It was so boring. I used to like I never clicked. They're like, but your yoga is different. And I really do think my yoga is different, because I teach the class that I want, that I would want.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's really, the music is so important. It's all about moving your body. It's all about strengthening your body, softening your heart and mind. It's like,
Mm.
feel like you've been through this kind of religious experience at the end. Like, I really think I
Yes.
guide that on a yoga mat. I don't do everything well, but I think I teach a pretty kick-ass yoga class. I
That's
really
amazing. So it sounds like you've
really
innovated
do.
it, right? For that you take something that maybe for some people feels unapproachable or harder,
Yes,
and you've
it's
made it
complete.
approachable.
Yeah, and I think so I'm really a stickler for, like, I need to keep my yogis safe. So it's all about, like, the way everyone's like, will I be able to follow? I've never had one person not being able to follow. It's very much, inhale, reach your arms up,
Mhm.
exhale, swan dive forward.
Not
Inhale.
not Sanskrit. You're not teaching in Sanskrit.
Yeah, I mean, of course there'll be certain, like chaturanga, there's of course
Sure.
certain words, but it's all about, if this feels good, I give them options to intensify, modify a pose, so they can, the first thing I say is, if you're tired today, I'm totally cool if you lie down in a fetal position on your
Mm-hmm.
side the whole time for 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what your body needs, wellness is different for so right away I guide them that if it feels hard, if they're challenged, if it's just, I
Let
don't know.
go. Just let go.
Yeah, I just want them to explore. And if they feel energized to be able to kick it up a notch, they're given that option. If they're tired, they can drop a knee, they can come into child's pose. So that's my love of yoga. And of course, we breathe on the mat, and then I have meditations for people as well. In fact, I have a great, if you can provide a link, I have a beautiful 10-minute meditation
Yes.
for the rookie meditator or the expert meditator, which just kind of gets you in the zone, calms you down. You can do it anytime. So I have a beautiful meditation which will turn people on to how they feel after they breathe.
I love that. We can definitely throw that link in the show notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow. I just love how you are taking these tools for transformation and you are putting some shine on it and helping inform people. And oh my goodness, I just know that spiritual experience that you're saying at the end of a yoga practice, right? It feels so good. And you have a heart to like give that to someone, and you can't do it for them, but you can guide them in such a beautiful way. It's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great fun.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I am so thrilled for our listeners to be able to follow you and check out some of the things that you do. Do you have any yoga classes that you've taught available online also?
So there are some, if you go to ericadiamond.com, I have a yoga tab with a bunch of free classes that you can take. I teach yoga online. So you can go to the yoga tab where you can take a 45-minute or 60-minute private session together over Zoom. If you live in Montreal, where I live, you can come. I have I call it my Zen den. I have a whole set up where in the back of the summer, I have this beautiful garden with surround sound speakers. So in the summer, we do yoga outside, and the other seasons they come into my indoor yoga. So if you live in Montreal, of course you can come to me. I teach corporate yoga, but really ericadiamond.com. And I have a great, if you go to my website, I also have in the resources a beautiful free 10-minute little vitality yoga flow where you'll find, which is really great too. So that's really any kind of yoga, just go to the yoga tab. You'll get everything from there.
Awesome. Love it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for shining your light so bright. I know that there are so many souls out there that have just had transformative experiences because of what you do.
Oh, Dawn, thanks for having me. Thanks for being such a great interviewer and asking such wonderful questions. You were great.
All right, loves. You can find all of the Erica Diamond goodness in the show notes. Looking forward. See you soon. Peace.
Dear Divorce Diary is a podcast by My Coach Dawn. You can find more at mycoachdawn.com.